uniforms concealed in a black polythene bag during a routine patrol along the Yamatu-Maki and the Kankara Highway on November 19, 2024. Sadiq also revealed that the subsequent investigations led to the arrest of 3 additional suspects with 14 pairs of military uniforms and 1 police uniform, allegedly intended for delivery to the armed bandits for their criminal operations, were recovered by the authorities. President Bola Tinubu has commissioned the Nigerian Immigration Services Technology Innovation Complex at its headquarters in Abuja. President Tinubu was received by the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, and the Comptroller General of the Immigration, Kemi Nandap. The data complex comprises the Command and Control Center, NIS Data Center, ECOWAS Biometric Card Production Center, Interior Data Center, and a 0.5 kW solar power plant. In her opening address, the Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nandap, said the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Technology Innovation Complex will ascertain the risk level of persons entering the country, dictate irregular migration patterns, and monitor unmanned borders in hard-to-reach areas nationwide. The National Orientation Agency, NOA, has said that it will translate the proposed tax reform bills and other critical national issues into 36 Nigerian languages to enhance public understanding and engagement. The Director General of the agency, Larry Issa Onilu, represented by the Director of Personnel, Research and Statistics, NOA Headquarters, Abuja, Inuwa Yusuf Kobi, said this at a town hall meeting in Maiduguri. Issa Onilu said the initiative would counter misinformation and promote a better understanding of the tax reform designed to simplify the tax system, eliminate multiple taxation, and ease the burden on low-income Nigerians. According to him, misinformation on the social media has led to the politicization of the tax reform bills and stressed the need for public enlightenment through local languages and community engagement. The Senate Committee on Power has clarified that the 2023 Electricity Act does not grant states the authority to enforce technical electricity standards. In a goodwill message delivered at the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency 4th edition of the Stakeholders Roundtable for the enforcement of the technical standard, regulations, and mandates in Abuja, Committee Chairman Senator Anyanyi Abaribe urged for an amendment to the 2023 Act. Abaribe emphasized that the law should explicitly prevent states from enforcing technical standards, stressing the need for the federal law to supersede state law in this area, warning that a clear legal framework is necessary to prevent individuals from arbitrarily setting technical standards. The House of Representatives has directed the FCT Police Command to allow a 90-day grace period for vehicle owners in the territory to comply with the directive on tinted windows and covered number plates. The House also instructed the command to cease the indiscriminate harassment of motorists and to release vehicles impounded solely for these violations, further directing the Committee on Police Affairs to engage with the Nigerian Police Force leadership to establish clear enforcement guidelines for such directives in the future. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by Mukhtar Tolani Shagaya. Additionally, the House called on the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to launch a public enlightenment campaign informing citizens about the regulations and the process for obtaining the necessary permits or making required modifications to their vehicles. Elsewhere in the news, a prominent Ishekiri and Niger Delta group has called on President Bola Tinubu and the National Assembly to do the needful by ensuring the payment of 13% derivation fund directly to oil and gas producing communities in the respective Niger Delta states. Leader of the group, Princess Grace Fregana, in a statement pointed to the recent outburst from the Ishekiri leaders of thought in an open letter to the governor of Delta State on the injustice over the 13% fund for oil and gas producing communities. She stressed that the recent outburst justified the group's previous call on past administrations to see the plight of the people of the oil and gas producing communities as regards the judicious use of the 13% derivation fund. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has assured taxpayers in the state that their taxes will not be spent on frivolities, but rather on profitable ventures that would enhance the state and well-being of the residents. Sanwo-Olu stated this while commissioning the second phase of the upgraded and rehabilitated network of roads in Eti-Osa local government area of the state. He said his administration is determined to transform the state and ensure its productivity, noting that since the inception of his administration, the state government have been devoted to rehabilitating, upgrading, and in some cases, reconstructing roads across all 5 divisions of the state. The Coalition of Health Sector Unions in Lagos State has begun a 3-day warning strike over non-implementation of adjustment to the Consolidated Health Salary Structure. Secretary of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Oloritoba Odumusu, in an interview, insisted that the strike would hold following the expiration of an ultimatum issued by the unions, as he complained that the matter had lingered for long despite numerous attempts by the unions to resolve it amicably. The unions include the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, and the Joint Health Sector Unions. The Nigerian Supreme Court for Islamic Affairs has appointed 5 new imams for the Abuja National Mosque. This marks a significant step towards promoting inclusivity and reflecting regional diversity within the Muslim Ummah. This was made known by the Council's Secretary General, Professor Isaac Oloide, during a press conference held in Abuja. Oloide emphasized the importance of the appointment of the new appointees from the Southeast, emphasizing the Council's commitment to fostering unity across Nigeria. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, an intervention agency set up by the federal government, has projected that the beneficiaries of student loans may hit an estimated 2.1 million. The managing director of NEL Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, disclosed this at the inauguration and induction of members of the Servicom unit and committee in Abuja. The disbursed funds encompass institutional fees paid directly to the institutions of applicants and upkeep loans paid directly to the account numbers provided by the applicants. The World Health Governing Body, the World Health Organization, has disclosed that malaria mortality has fallen back to levels seen before COVID-19 crisis. The organization called for faster progress against the disease that killed nearly some 597,000 people last year. WHO's Global Malaria Program, Anodeli Menak, said in a new report that WHO estimated that there were 263 million cases of malaria worldwide in 2023, with 11 million more than a year earlier, while the death toll remained relatively stable. WHO said insisting progress must be accelerated, noted that the estimated 2023 mortality rate in Africa of 52.4 deaths per 100,000 population at risk. Meanwhile, it still remains more than double the target level set by a global strategy for combating malaria through 2030. You're watching Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, where Midday News returns United Nations General Assembly to vote on unconditional ceasefire in Gaza. Details of these, as well as business and sports stories, coming right after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from the breaking business. Nigeria's oil output has risen year on year by 13.3% to 1.7 million barrels per day, including condensate in November 2024 for 1.5 million barrels per day recorded in the corresponding period of 2023. But on month-on-month basis, the nation's output rose by 10% to 1.7 million barrels per day, including condensate in November 2024 from 1.5 million barrels per day in October 2024. According to the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission report, the Nigerian Oil Production Output report, the output is the highest ever to be produced by the nation in 2024. The report indicated that the nation recorded 1.6 million barrels per day, including condensate in July 2024, which dropped to 1.5 million barrels per day before hitting the current output. Oil producers and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority have expressed their disagreement over the collection of the 0.5% wholesale price levy, while the NMDPRA insists that oil producers should collect the levy and remit it to the appropriate banks. The producers argue that the regulator should handle the collection directly. NMDPRA Chief Executive Farouk Ahmed, represented by the authority's legal advisor Joseph Tolarunse, explained that the engagement is aimed at addressing issues raised during the first phase of the NMDPRA's sensitization program. Vice Chairman of the Oil Producers Trade Section Gas Subcommittee representing Chevron Nigeria Limited, Princess Edemu Chukuma, along with James Makinde of Saplet and other representatives from international oil companies, argued against oil producers being responsible for collecting the levy. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commissions have denied opposing the 4 tax reform bills, which are currently before the National Assembly. The Commission's chairman, Mohammed Bello Shehu, gave the clarification in Abuja at a press conference, adding that the position paper of the Commission on the reform bills sent to the National Assembly was misinterpreted. Shehu therefore urged the public to disregard reports and rely solely on official documents and statements, adding that these inaccurate statements can undermine the ongoing efforts of patriotic Nigerians who are tirelessly working to support the president in achieving his vision for the country. Recall that earlier reports state that the Commission had vehemently opposed President Bola Tinubu's controversial tax reform bills, citing potential violation of the Constitution in a 9-page memorandum signed by its chairman. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has appointed Ademola Adeyemi Barrow, Nigeria's governor for OPEC, as chairman of the OPEC Board of Governors for 2025. Adeyemi Barrow's appointment was confirmed at the 189th Ordinary Virtual Meeting of the OPEC Conference. Prior to his appointment as the chairman of OPEC Board of Governors, he was confirmed as Nigeria's OPEC governor for the year 2025. Senator Heineken Lukubiri, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, in a statement said the prestigious role highlighted Nigeria's influence within the OPEC, adding that it underscored Nigeria's commitment to shaping global energy policies. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HORIWA, has raised concerns over the persistent cash shortage in the country. The organization, in a statement by its national coordinator, Comrade Emmanuel Onwubiko, described the situation as a clear indication of a collapsing economy. HORIWA criticized the inability of depositors to access their money in cash, labeling it an act of economic sabotage and evidence of dysfunction within Nigeria's financial system, strongly condemning the Central Bank of Nigeria for what it called provocative incompetence. On the foreign scene, the United Nations General Assembly is to vote on a draft resolution that seeks an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, a symbolic gesture after the U.S. previously vetoed a similar action in the United Nations Security Council. In addition to calling for an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire, the draft resolution seeks the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages and accommodation of the United States and other staunch allies of Israel. The resolution, which is non-binding, also demands immediate access to widespread humanitarian aid for the citizens of Gaza who have been subjected to more than a year of war with Israel, especially in the besieged north of Tuesday night, stood out despite the defeat to the reigning champions, showcasing the form that has brought him global recognition in recent years. In the post-match interview after the Real Madrid clash, Lookman said he has been able to have consistency in playing over the past 2.5 years, allowing him to improve and show his qualities, acknowledging the role of circumstances in his development. Despite Kylian Mbappe's, Vinicius Jr. and Jude Bellingham securing the victory for Madrid, Lookman's performance stole the spotlight, reinforcing why he remains one of football's most exciting talents. Players and officials of Nigeria under-15 boys future Eagles depart the country for Morocco, where the team is scheduled to face their Moroccan counterpart in 2 international friendly games. This will be the team's first international experience since the inception of the FIFA Talent Development Scheme in the country. Head of delegation Nasiru Jibril said playing Morocco is a deliberate attempt and a pragmatic way of equipping the young talented players discovered in the country through the FIFA Talent Development Scheme, noting that exposing the players to best facilities and playing internationally will further shape the country's awakening strength and awakening with regards to the impending annual AFCON Under-17 and annual FIFA Under-17 tournaments. Chairman of the Nigerian Professional Football League, Benga Elegbeleye, has expressed his happiness with the match day 1 result and the conduct of the Nigerian National League. Elegbeleye said he was wowed with the smooth opening of the NNL season, adding that a good start is always important in everything, such as one can work towards retaining the good record set from the start. In some of the games, Abia Comment recorded an away victory over Idil FC 2-1, while Beyond Limits were forced to a 1-1 draw by Dakada FC. And Inter Lagos also recorded a 2-2 draw away at Ijele FC ground. That's it on Midday News, and it came to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. A quick reminder that Global Television